Kelly Merriman-Turner is a Reiki master teacher, professional sound healer, and somatic coach dedicated to helping women embody love, manifest miracles, and transform with grace. As the founder of Soul Ascend Frequency Healing, Kelly integrates sound and energy healing, yoga, and somatic coaching with ancient spiritual wisdom and modern neuroscience. Her comprehensive approach heals the mind, body, and spirit, unlocking personal potential and facilitating profound transformation. Kelly, welcome to the Happy Go Lifestyle podcast.
Hello, Sarah. So honored to be here. For
I'm
having
so
me.
happy to have you here. So, I want to start this episode with how we met because I think it's very relevant to what we're going to talk about today. You and I met at a brand event, and you were the yoga instructor, and I was a student. And you made it a point to go up to each student and introduce yourself, and you had a little interaction with each person. I just remember your energy. And I just remember you had this beautiful smile and you had this positive vibration about you. And I was so drawn to you, so much so that I went up to you after class and I introduced myself again. And here we are. And I'm so glad that I did. So I wanted to talk about the importance of energy, the energy that we have inside, the energy that we emit onto others, the energy that we carry out in our day-to-day lives. Why does that matter? Why does it matter to be aware of that energy? And how does it affect our lives?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great way to start this out. First, it was such an honor to meet you that day. I feel the
Thank you.
same. Definitely your energy and my energy were aligned. We vibrated
Yes,
together, right? And that connected us. And I'm truly grateful that that brought us together. And
likewise.
energy is everything. Really, energy is the foundation for life, for creation, for all of us. It's 99.9% of what's around us. And just this 0.1% is our physical world. So when we can expand our consciousness to remember that we are truly just energy having an experience in this modern human world, starts to let us remember that we're so much greater than just our environment. And that internal state that we can create with inside ourselves, that energy, that frequency is what carries through to create our external reality. So it's truly the process of manifestation, which I know that you've also been a deep devotee of as well. It's truly creating our worlds by changing the frequency inside of us. And that's what my business is really based around, frequency healing, and coming into that true authentic frequency that resides within us. That is who we're actually meant to show up in the world.
It's so true because energy is really contagious. And I feel like I'm personally very attuned to someone's energy. When I meet someone within 5 minutes, I feel their energy and I know whether I'm aligning with their energy or whether I'm not. And it's so important that people are conscious of the energy that they are emitting as they go about their lives. I know that you are a Reiki teacher, so I want to talk about what Reiki healing is and why someone would seek out a Reiki healer.
Reiki is spiritually guided life force energy. Ray is essentially spiritual wisdom, and Ki is energy. So, with that idea in mind that we are energy in motion, we can tap into something that's greater than just this human experience, that spiritual wisdom that ties into the energy. So, Reiki is that connection to source, to our spiritual selves, to that true essence within us, our authentic selves that we can connect to outside of all of the stuff that we kind of get lost in the day to day. So Reiki brings us back into balance first and foremost. It's a wonderful tool for releasing stress, releasing anxiety, coming into emotional balance. But then as you progress with Reiki and you become more attuned to higher frequencies, you start to reveal your true authentic self. So I have a mission. My personal mission has really been to attune as many people to Reiki as possible. I think that even outside of becoming a Reiki practitioner, healing others through these approaches, the ability to be connected to that source energy, to that source wisdom, to be aligned and guided to our highest potentials is something that we can all tap into. We are not special because we can channel Reiki. Some people are born naturally able to attune to higher frequencies and to channel energy, but it's a gift that we can all work on developing as we develop our intuition and as we become attuned to these higher frequencies in our lives.
I love that because so much about what I talk about on my Instagram is living to your potential. And I always personally question, am I living to my potential? And I think it's something that everyone should ask themselves. We have one life to live. And are we truly maximizing our worth and our ability to impact the world in a greater way? So I've personally never been to a Reiki session. Walk me through what a session looks like. Is someone lying down? Is it a discussion? Is it something that they're just meditating? Like, walk me through the actual process of a Reiki healing.
Sure. So every Reiki practitioner has a different style, a different way of practicing Reiki. I teach that Reiki is access to an energetic library of infinite possibilities. So
Mm.
while one person may really go deep into past life healing or is really working on connecting to ancestors or loved ones, which is definitely all possible within Reiki, the primary basis is really that quantum shortcut to calm, to peace within, to long and transformative healing that enables both physical healing within the body. So some Reiki masters or Reiki practitioners are hands-on healers and they're really involved with treating different conditions in the body. Some are more attuned to emotional healing, really working through issues. Some are, like me, more seeking spiritual transformation and how Reiki can help align us with that divine path, our soul's true purpose. So every session can be a little different depending on what someone's really coming in for. Reiki treats everything, mind, body, and
Wow.
spirit.
What do you find that most women are coming to you for? Do you see like a common theme that women are struggling with?
Women, I think, primarily are looking for balance and peace. They're coming to me often
Mm.
because something is sort of off in their life. They're looking for ways to move through anxiety, to move through transitions or a challenge that they might be facing in their lives. And Reiki can support them with that, both from a self healing practice. If you're attuned to Reiki, being able to practice Reiki on yourself is so, so powerful. And that was definitely my experience as an initiate into this path. Reiki training changed everything. It helped dissolve all of the illusions, all of the blocks of what I thought I could and couldn't be. At the time, I thought, oh, I'm a corporate working mom. Who am I to be a sound healer and to even think that I could be a healer at all? That's not for me. That's for these other people who look so ethereal and goddessy
Mm.
and just this regular working
You feel
mom.
goddessy to me.
Thank you. Thank you. But that training and that deepening into Reiki was that initial piece that helped unlock so much in my life. So the people coming to me now, I think, are looking for that in their own lives. They're looking for something more, something that feels bigger than maybe what they're doing. They're awakening to their own spiritual gifts. Their intuition is waking up.
I want to talk about trauma and how you're saying that a lot of women come to you with either trauma or a high level of stress. And we all know that trauma lives in the body, not just the mind. And so, as a Reiki healer, what are some of the signs that you see in women that come to you? Some physical or emotional signs that they're still carrying this stress and trauma in their body?
Yeah. Somatics is sort of a buzzword right now, and it's really a term that means of the body, to be in the body. And the way that energy moves through the body is through the fascia. So that can manifest sometimes in physical pain. For example, I had a client who came in and she was really complaining about shoulder pain and that she was having a lot of issues with this left side of her body. And it turned out that her necklace, just like my necklace says surrender in Sanskrit, she had a necklace in Hebrew, and I asked her what it meant before the session, and she didn't know. And so during the session, I was getting really powerful message around flow and feminine flow, and that the left side of the body is also associated with the feminine side. And the pain that she was experiencing was a blockage in the energy moving through her feminine side. She was living in this state of high-powered job, high stress, and really needed to find more flow in her life. And it ended up being really beautifully, shown that her name was associated with this connection to flow. So there's so many beautiful synchronicities that come through it. But from a somatic perspective, it all lives in the body. We can control how the mind thinks, the stories that the mind tells us, and how that's communicated through the body and ends up becoming pain or disease in the body, sometimes even more chronic conditions. So the first and
Mm.
foremost principle of healing is that we need to feel safe to heal. that we need to be in an environment where our nervous system is regulated, where we can open to receive good energy that's coming into us, things that can help us move through whatever it is that we're experiencing. So, somatics is a really powerful way for helping people move through and release that energy that's been deeply stored. Sometimes it's stored as trauma, sometimes it's stored as experiences we've had that go back to childhood, wounds that have developed in a way that think they're keeping us safe, like this shell of protection that's like bracing us against good things coming into us. So it's repelling blessings, it's repelling miracles, it's repelling the good things that want to get to us because we're living in this like, I have to hold myself together, I have to protect myself. And that shows up in the body very somatically.
It's really incredible how much the mind and body are connected. I mean, to think that someone has physical pain in their shoulder, and the first thing you think is, okay, well, let me go to the doctor, let me go get a massage. But it's deep rooted. It's not just physical pain. Our physical pain is very much connected to our emotional pain, and really tapping into that is something that I think people need to question and kind of dig a little deeper. I wanted to talk about the central nervous system as well, and its role in healing, because as we know, our central nervous system doesn't know the difference between being chased by a lion or a level of stress or trauma. We have the same fight or flight response. So, how does the central nervous system play a role in healing and allowing us to calm our bodies and get to a place where we can receive this positive energy?
Yeah, so the central nervous system is actually built to help us. But because we live in this world where, like you said, we don't know the difference between being chased by a lion and our phones ringing constantly, we live in this chronic state of fight or flight. Nervous system is chronically stressed. It can't allow for transformation. It's just focused on survival, where
Yeah.
we're just trying to get through day by day, stay on top of all the to-dos, but when we can really rest and take that sacred pause, that's when deep restoration and healing can happen. And more often than not, it causes more problems when we're constantly in an environment where our nervous system is triggered into the sympathetic response.
What are some little exercises that people can do at home in a moment where they feel triggered or stressed or anxious or overwhelmed? I know for me, it's really simple, but I just take deep breaths. I take 5 deep breaths, and I notice I just feel a sense of calm. I've actually taught my girls the same thing. Anytime they're stressed, I say, just take a deep breath.
I love that. And it's so important that we teach children this early on. I struggled with anxiety as a child, most of my life, in fact. And I wish I would have had these tools and practices back then. So I love that you're sharing them with your daughter. And I'm definitely sharing them with my daughter as well. First and foremost is just connecting, placing your hands on your heart, closing your eyes down, and giving yourself a few moments to just truly pause. And like you said, to breathe, to let everything slow and just start to tune in to what your intuition, that inner wisdom within you wants to share. The language of the body is movement, but we have to get quiet enough sometimes to listen. So maybe it's taking a walk. I love walking. I walk probably at least 2 times a day. If you're moving, you're closing that fight or flight loop. So when your body wants
Yeah.
to run, let it move, let it walk. But then the most important part is taking that time to pause, to be in stillness, to listen. And even when you're busy, you can take a quick, short walk, even if it's in your office building, walking the hallways and just taking those slow, deep breaths, letting your mind settle, and then spending a moment at your desk just for a moment, just to breathe long, slow, deep breaths. And as you let the exhale be longer than the inhale, that also signals to your nervous system that it's safe to relax before that big meeting. Another really powerful way I love is humming. Humming is such a fabulous tool. It's connected to the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is very connected to the nervous system. Your voice is the most powerful sound healing instrument for you. You hum, that vibration is echoing through every cell.
That's so interesting, because all I'm thinking when you say that is when my kids were newborns and I would just hold them to my chest and I would literally just hum, and instantly they would stop crying. So that makes perfect sense that that just calms your nervous system. That's such a great tool.
Yeah, it's so powerful. When we hum, it releases chemicals into the body that help make us feel happy, that help bring natural pain relievers into the body. It releases nitric oxide, which helps to boost immunity for the body. So we truly are our own greatest healers. I have a practice that has developed. It was just 30 seconds with the Calm app. Just 30 seconds listening to a meditation before work. I would get up before my family It was the most crucial time for me just to connect to myself. The young
Yeah.
family, a very busy job, new to LA. I was so, so stressed. At 30 seconds, over many years now, has evolved into an hour-long morning sadhana. But the one thread that really connects all of it together is frequency. What frequency do you want to embody for that day? You can set that frequency in the morning before you start your day, before you get into that go, 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 rush, survival mode, just get through the day mode. You can create it inside of you. Again, the basis of true manifestation.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed by this concept of meditation and waking up early and what am I really doing and what does meditation mean? But some of the simple things like going for a walk, not going on the phone, not listening to
Mhm.
music, but just simply being in your own stillness. Walking is just so underrated. It's something that I've actually adopted since COVID. I never really went for walks before that, and I was kind of forced to during COVID. And now I'm just addicted. It is my time to myself. It is my time to process things. It is my time to create and come up with new ideas and inspirations. I think it's the best tool. And even if someone says, okay, I don't have time to go for walks, what about just being in your car? In LA, we're always in our cars. Sometimes I'm in my car. I don't listen to music. I don't listen to a podcast. And I just sit there in silence. And it's
Yes.
amazing. My mind just wanders. And that's a meditation in and of itself.
Yes, I love that. We take in so much information. We're
Yeah.
overstimulating with
I'm
information.
guilty of that. I'm for sure guilty of that, but I check myself.
And it's yes, it's so important to check yourself. Just building in that quiet time to give your brain space. That is meditation. Meditation is
Yeah.
just allowing yourself to be with the thoughts, not judging them, not trying to control them, observing them. I use that time also for
Yeah.
connection to my higher power and my higher self and have conversations. Ask a question. What do I need to know today? What am I struggling with? And just begin to listen for the answers to come through. It's all there waiting for us. We just have to get to that place where we're willing to hear it.
And I think also having the curiosity to really reflect, to seek for answers and seek more solutions to things that we may be facing in our lives. So I want to shift gears. I want to talk about transformation. And you mentioned earlier that you transformed your life and you were thinking, who am I to go into Reiki healing? What do I know? And I just love this idea of transformation. It's something that I'm very passionate about. And it's something that I want women to know that they have the ability to transform their lives, regardless of what you're going through in life, regardless of what age you are or what challenges you have the ability to transform your life. And you've shared a story with me in private that you've allowed me to discuss on this podcast. I would love for you to share it because I think it's so inspiring the way you've completely transformed your life. So I would love it if you would share that with our listeners and also what role Reiki played in helping you get to that.
Yeah, I'd be so honored. And as I look back on my own journey, I never came at it from this lens of, oh, I'm going to transform my life. For me, it started when I was pregnant with my daughter, craving spirituality in a new way. And yoga was my first foray into that space where it unlocked such a connection within myself.
It's so funny. I can relate because the very first time I did yoga was prenatal yoga. And it was simply because I had back pain. That was the first time I ever did yoga. That was 15 years ago. And I felt the same exact way about yoga, just being connected to myself in a way that I had never really experienced.
Yeah, and that's what it does with physical pain or anxiety, which in my case was very much what drove me to yoga. I make a joke sometimes that it's like the spiritual gateway drug.
Totally.
My life had just begun to come back online. I'd been moving through a really dark period. COVID was definitely a big factor, being really unhappy in my job and knowing that I was meant for more, but not really being sure of how to make a living being a yoga teacher. I was also separated from my husband for 3 years. Yoga sort of unlocks Pandora's box where lots of things start coming up for for good reasons to help move us into who we truly are at our core. We're just sort of told and conditioned who we're supposed to be. And sometimes we lose connection with who we really want to be, who we're meant to be, who we're becoming. I'm also a student of Kabbalah, and Kabbalah really emphasizes,
I
and I
love
think you are
Kabbalah.
too.
I've
Yeah.
done Kabbalah before. It's been a while. I actually want to do it again. I feel like I need a little reboot. But yeah, I did do it about 20 years ago.
I love the metaphor of the idea of the light in the vessel, that we are meant to be channels of the Creator's light, and that our vessels are being strengthened to grow and to transform, to support that.
And you mentioned that you were separated from your husband, but you're no longer separated. You're actually together. I would love to talk about that evolution because I talk a lot about divorce, and obviously I'm divorced. And for a lot of women who might be in a place where they're grappling with a decision whether or not to leave a marriage, how you were able to find your way back to your husband, I think it's really unbelievable.
Yeah, and it definitely was not an easy path. When we separated, I just really leaned into a deep knowing that I needed to do that at the time. And looking back, I can say with such clarity and compassion for myself that I needed those 3 years to really discover myself and who I was outside of my marriage. And most importantly, how to love myself the way that my
Mm,
husband was
so
trying to love
important.
me, but I wasn't ready to receive, that I needed to fall in love with myself first and
Got the
foremost.
chills. Ugh. Yeah, it's so important. It's so important to really love yourself before you can let someone else love you.
Yeah. That was a big piece of that journey. And when Reiki came in just a few months after we had gotten back together, I think the divine timing was okay, you've been through this test. It's time to level up. And then life started aligning in the most beautiful ways. And it was because I finally had that surrender moment of, I'm ready. Help
Yeah,
me move through this.
you were ready to receive. And then when you guys did get back together, I would imagine that you are not getting back into the old relationship, but that you're starting a totally new marriage, a totally new relationship, a new dynamic, and probably a way better version of the relationship, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're with someone for such a long time, you are so many different people along the journey. It's how we learn and grow together that determines how the marriage moves forward or if it doesn't. And sometimes paths change and people become new versions of themselves and they're no longer aligned with that partner. And I think that's okay, honestly. I think one of the things that I came to realize is that divorce is not the end of the world. Divorce is a lovely new beginning. Is it easy? Absolutely not. And am I glad that I didn't get divorced? Yes. But you're right. It had to be us coming back together in a brand new way and re-choosing each other, and not for the sake of, oh, we don't want to get divorced. We can't afford divorce. What about
Yeah.
the kids? What about this? What about that? It wasn't about any of that. We came back together because we chose one another again, that we chose to be partners, and we began to communicate in whole new ways. I began to see who my husband was trying to be. I think it really woke him up as well to things he needed to change in his life. And we could start to see each other as the people that we are now, and not so much the people that we were when we met at 23. We both needed that time to really figure out who we were moving forward and if we were meant to be together along this next phase of the journey. And my husband is definitely one of those biggest champions of my path and my transformation along that journey. And that's truly where the magic happens, where you have someone that complements your sacred feminine, but you're also seeing what their sacred masculine is inspiring you to find in yourself. Because everything that we want in someone else is because we need to find it first in ourselves. The aha moments of like, oh, okay, that's what I'm missing. I'm missing that in myself. He can't fix my business. He can't do all of these things like that I'm like wanting his masculine energy for. Like he's showing me that I need to build it in here and that he's going to be my support and my partner. But one person can't be everything for you.
Yeah.
When I left my marriage, I had this idea that, there was going to be this one perfect person that was going to come in and everything was going to be amazing again. That's not how relationships are meant to work. They're partnerships. They're complements to the life that you are building for yourself. They are not your everything. Sometimes I think the message that we get in the world is like, find your person. You're not complete until you find your person, and then everything is going to be wonderful.
Yeah, that was it Jerry Maguire, "You Complete Me?" That couldn't be further from the truth because you really have to take ownership for yourself before you can be whole in a relationship. But I will say it's such a beautiful story of how you were able to find yourself and heal, gave you the permission and the time to go on this path that you needed to go on to become the best version of yourself and find all the things that you needed to be able to then be in a relationship with him. And it's such a beautiful example and really shows women that if they're in this crossroads and they don't know what to do, whether to leave a marriage or not, there is hope to stay in the marriage. And sometimes you move apart and there's really no getting back. But you did the work. And I just love that you went on this journey and that you guys were able to come back together and have a thriving relationship. It's really, really incredible.
Yeah, love is a choice. I remind myself of that every single day. We can choose to be in love, or we can choose to see all of the things that maybe aren't so perfect about our partners, but they're not meant to be perfect. We're not perfect. And
Yeah.
when we can choose to love someone unconditionally, that is the greatest form of love. But trying to control someone or trying to make someone what you think they should be is taking away from all the really amazing qualities that they actually bring to your life. And getting hung up on the what's missing from a relationship sometimes can cloud us to what's really there. Instead of reacting to something that happens in our life, or if someone triggers us, if our spouse or partner makes us angry, instead of leaning into that reactivity, to pause and see it as a mirror. What is the universe showing me in this situation that I can use as an opportunity to grow and transform myself? So your partner leaves their socks all over the floor and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the last time I'm picking up your socks. And it's like, oh, you're so mad about the socks. But instead, taking a pause and being like, okay, why is the socks all over the floor bothering me? Like, what's behind this? Like, what's under the surface that's causing me to be so angry about the socks? Is it something deeper, or is it maybe too much control? Maybe you're trying to
Sure.
control the situation too much. Like, what happens if the socks don't get picked up for a few days? Maybe the
Yeah.
husband will come in and like pick up the socks. Who knows, right? A silly example just to show that sometimes we project so much, we react so much that when we can just pause and slow down and see that everyone in every situation is truly a mirror for our own growth.
So true. I need to practice that because I'm very OCD and something like that would really bother me. So the next time that happens, I'm going to think of you. But you mentioned something about our partner isn't everything to us. And we have such dynamic lives and we can't put all the weight and expectation on our partner. So our partner can be our place of love and safety. And we share lots of things with our partner, but we need to also rely on other people around us and other avenues for creativity and inspiration and joy. And we can't just get all of our joy from our partners. So that's something really important to think about. If someone is in a place in their lives and they feel like they really need a transformation, what is the first step that they can take to initiating transformation and redesigning their lives?
Such a great question. So I think getting really clear about who you are, discovering what lights you up. Think about, where do you feel most alive? Who are you with? What are you doing? Where do you feel most happy and free? What do you enjoy? What do you spend your money on? All of these things sort of clue us into our soul's desires and who we truly are at our cores. What's already in your life that you love and that you enjoy and that makes you happy? And then how can you bring more of that into your life? It doesn't always have to be sometimes that you're completely changing careers and doing something brand new, but how can you infuse what you're doing in your life with more of what your soul really craves and desires? So if you're called to learn a new course, whatever those little pings that start to come in that start to like open your eyes to something, begin to follow it. That's the path to transformation. And the breadcrumbs are reveal this greater path of transformation.
Going back to having the curiosity about yourself and listening to those little pings, a little exercise that I think can really show you if you're aligned with your desires is just taking a look at your calendar. Take a look at like
Mm.
a month snapshot of your calendar. Is your calendar filled with things that are aligned with what you're trying to achieve in your life? So if you're trying to get more healthy, are you going to the gym? Are you setting up healthy lunch dates, or are you going out drinking and you're staying up late? Are you aligned with what you're trying to do? Maybe you're trying to meet someone and you want to find love. Are you putting yourself out there in the position to find those things? So the first step is really defining what it is that you want, because if you don't define it, you simply can't find it. So you have to define and be crystal clear on what it is that you want for yourself, and then pick up those little breadcrumbs and move in the direction of meeting your goals.
That's really my three-part recipe for manifestation. It's getting really clear on your desires. And then it's frequency, embodying that version of you that you want to become. And then third, taking that aligned action towards those goals. And many times what we spend our money on, like,
Yeah,
are
that
you
was a
spending
great one.
money on things that are not really serving your best interest? All of these things that we do for the sake of doing sometimes just take us away from our ability to really create the reality that we want. And yet we will think like, oh, well, life isn't, working out the way I want, or life is happening to me, not for me. But we have so much more control than we
We do.
really give ourselves credit for.
And just being intentional. I think that's kind of like the theme for my year this last year is being very intentional, intentional with my time, intentional with my money, intentional with my energy, intentional with the people I surround myself with. And when you move with intention, you will find that alignment will come.
Yes.
So, in closing, I ask all my guests the same three questions. So, I want to ask the same questions of
Ooh,
you. What habit do you think everyone should try for 30 days?
I can only choose one.
You can choose more than one, but what's the first thing that came to mind?
Well, I'll combine them then.
Okay,
So putting your phone on do not disturb so that you quiet all of the pings, all of the alerts. I do it almost consistently throughout the day because the alerts are very triggering to the
yeah,
nervous system. If you do this every day for 30 days, you will notice an amazing difference in your life.
I'm sure. What is one belief you let go of that completely changed your life?
Then I'm not ready.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Start when you're not ready. Just go for it.
Yeah. We'll never be ready if we are constantly waiting for someone to tell us that we are. You get ready by being ready, by just doing.
What is one thing you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Host international retreats. That's on my agenda very soon.
And actually, one thing that I want to do that I've never done is a Reiki healing session. I've never done that before, and I'm definitely inspired to do that. So tell our audience where they can find you.
So you can connect with me on Instagram at Ascend with Kelly. My website is www.soul-ascend.com. And definitely send me a note on Instagram. I'd love to connect with you if you have questions or want to dive into any of these topics further. And it's been such an honor and such a joy, truly,
This
Sarah,
was
to
amazing.
spend time
I
with you.
learned so much, and I think that anyone who listens to this episode is really going to gain a lot. So thank you so much.
Thank you.